Hey, if I didn't do this thing, Chris, one thing I would love to do is perhaps become an actor. And if I became an actor, you know what I would love to say? Bond. James Bond.
And you handle that well. You've got the debonair suaveness, everything it takes to be a super spy. Listen, we know James Bond likes his martinis shaken, not stirred. We're talking about a shakeup involving Agent 007 today because creative control of the character has changed hands for the first time in more than 60 years. So the Broccoli family, the American Broccoli family, has long time been associated. They were the first to bring this character to the big screen with Dr. No, Sean Connery, back in the early 1960s. We have not seen James Bond on the big screen since 2021 when Daniel Craig played him in No Time to Die. Afterwards, he hung up the tuxedo. He was done playing the character. Since then, MGM has been acquired by Amazon. Amazon MGM has now made a deal with the owners, the Broccoli family, to take over the intellectual property rights for this character, which means they will decide the future of this franchise, which is an interesting kind of turn of events because this is a multi-billion, it is the 5th highest grossing franchise of all time. 25 movies so far. We do not know who is set to play James Bond, that super agent, yet in a 26th movie. But part of the reason I find it interesting that Amazon has taken over the creative control of the character is because they have done such a great job with some other major franchises. I mentioned some of them on What to Watch earlier today. They own the rights to Jack Ryan. We had the series on Prime Video with, what's his name? The guy, Jim from The Office playing the character. We have Reacher, season 3's out today. Alan Richson, also based on a series of novels, much like James Bond started off before all of the movies. And they also did Alex Cross on Prime Video. So, while everyone hopes and waits to see what happens, excuse me, for a 26th movie, I make the case that this could be the next series adaptation. Maybe I can keep my fingers crossed, but we'll have to wait and see what happens in the meantime. The Broccoli family will remain co-owners of the character, but the creative control and the future of the franchise now in the hands of Amazon and
So if they did a series, would it be kind of like how the Star Wars series is? Meaning, would, you know, they have break-offs from different characters?
Exactly. So George Lucas was the original owner in that case, and then Disney took over creative control, future of the franchise. So similarly, they were able to make movies, but they were also able to introduce new characters and make TV shows. So obviously James Bond has a wealth of characters all surrounding him, obviously from M to everyone else. So yes, they could theoretically go a variety of different directions. And there is a wealth of source material from all of the books back in the day. For them, Ian Fleming, obviously the original writer of the character, for them to base these on. I mean, basically what the Jack Ryan series did, and so did Cross, and they based them on the original books or took some of those movies and made them into longer series. So there's a huge potential for the future of this franchise. And like I said, billions and billions of dollars at stake.
Your favorite actor that played James Bond?
That's a really, really tough one. Sean Connery is the one that instantly comes to mind.
Really? Okay.
Instantly comes to mind. My family is not going to want to hear this, but they are obsessed. Everyone in my family is obsessed with James Bond movies. I've probably only seen like 4.
What? Oh my gosh, Chris, I got to get you caught up. For me,
I'll admit, though, and I know this is a controversial opinion, one of the ones I liked the best was the Timothy Dalton one in the 80s, A License to Kill. It was a much darker version of James Bond where he was out for revenge. But it was a good movie. It didn't necessarily have to be a James Bond movie.
It really didn't.
But what about you?
Roger Moore.
Roger Moore,
hands down,
for a lot of people, absolutely. So, and I think he probably played him the most, right? Over the course of like 12 movies or something.
Maybe you should try out for the next one. We'll see. Producer
I may have aged out.
Shaken, not stirred. All things with sizzling topics right here on the Live Zone. We'll be right back.
Thank you.